You are listening to the Better Me podcast. Before we start this episode, wish you all a fantabulous day ahead. Today's episode is going to be something different. Yes, I'm going to be sharing a few techniques and methods on how to forget. Yes, you heard me right. It's going to be about how to forget. Normally, what people advocate is, or the method that people normally conventionally want to learn is how to increase your memory power or how to retain something in your memory, because that's what we all look forward, and many people are into the habit of forgetting things, and increasing the memory actually helps us tremendously in a lot of ways. We can learn a lot of new things, we can retain what we have learned, so there is a numerous benefit associated with increased memory power. But what I'm going to be talking today is kind of different. It is how to forget something. The first question here would be, why should we forget something? Isn't forgetting normally underproductive? Will anybody encourage us or even want us to forget things? Sometimes when it comes to emotional and psychological aspects of our life, there are certain things, certain memories or certain incidents or the certain way in which we feel about something we should be forgetting. Only if we forget it, or only if we remove it out of our memory, out of our life, we can get back to the normal self or the normal life that we are supposed to be living. Some people are stuck in their life or are undergoing a lot of misery and unhappiness and trauma just because they are got or trapped into some unpleasant incident or memory that's recurring in their mind. Just not that, it could have been any incident that had happened in their life. It could have been a comment that was passed by somebody or which was really unpleasant, that is still lingering in their head, or it could have been an event that had impacted their subconscious mind very deeply and has been causing a lot of trouble even without their knowledge. Or the worst case, it could have even been a person, a friend, or a relationship, or a relative, or a spouse, and the encounter that you had with them. Everything that has been recurring in your mind, coming up again and again and disturbing you, causing you not to live the life that you really desire and deserve. At such a time, we need to forget it. But you know what? When we ask our brain to forget something, it remembers it. It actually strengthens the memory when we try to forget something. Let me explain this with an example. Let's say you are afraid of ghosts and you are alone in your house and there's a power cut and there's no light, no source of light. Yes, it's totally dark. So automatically you would be frightened, and you would even ask, or you would even command yourself to not think about ghost or anything superstitious. But the moment you order yourself to not think about it, you start thinking about it deeply, or again and again you get into that thought about how you might be haunted by a ghost. That is just because in our brain, scientifically it's proven that when you think about something, it could be anything, an incident that has occurred or incident that you want to occur, or an imagination, or a specific thing or experience that you have already had in your life, be it anything. When you think about it again and again, the neural networks related to it become more stronger and it stays in your brain longer. Yes, that is the scientific reason why they say that you must revise something a lot of times to stay in your memory. Just because your neural networks related to that topic become stronger the moment you start revising it. Because it's just like drawing a line on the paper. Once you draw it, it's going to be light. When you again draw it on top of the line that you've already drawn, it's going to be a bit more stronger or a bit more darker. When you continuously draw on top of it again and again and again, it becomes really very dark and strong, and it's not easy for us to erase it because it stays there strongly. The same is the case with our brain and memory too. So if you are trying to forget something or someone or some incident or an unpleasant feeling that you have about something, the first thing is not to think about it. Yes, what most of us do is that we try to forget it. What we say to ourselves is that when we have an unpleasant feeling about something, we ask ourselves not to think about it, or we just command ourselves to forget it. What happens here is when you try to command yourself or program or just ask yourself not to think about it, you're actually thinking about it, right? You're bringing it again into your conscious memory, and or in a very simpler way, you are again drawing on the line that is already there, which makes it more stronger. So what else could be done? How are we supposed to not think about it? One thing is, you could actually divert your energy from that. It's very simple. You don't have to think about it. Let me explain this with an example. Let's say you are reminded of a person with whom you had been to a place earlier. So whenever you go to that place, whenever you pass by that way, you are reminded of that same person, which makes you, or which actually strengthens the link or the memory that is already present in your brain about that person, which is needed in our case because we are trying to forget that person or any memory associated with that person. So the best thing that we can do is, instead of asking ourselves not to think about that person, we could avoid us from getting into that situation. Yes, we can avoid us from going to that place. When we don't go to that place, how are we supposed to even think about that person? That would be a better idea, isn't it? We could take some other route, we could go to some other place which doesn't disturb us. This could be one of the most practical and effective solution to anybody who wants to get rid of some unpleasant memory or feelings or anything that is really very disturbing, because everything is in your head, it's in your brain. Scientifically and psychologically, you can actually bring about that change that will make you happy, that will make you more and more lively. All that you need to do is to follow those easy and effective steps that I've already said. And some people, even when they are sitting quietly, some thoughts will linger in their head, and it might be unpleasant, and it might bring back the memories that they really want to forget, because they have been through so much, and they have been through so much bitterness in their life, that even when they're sitting quietly without thinking about anything, the first thing and the only thing that comes to their mind would be those unpleasant memories and thoughts and feelings. For such people, my advice would be to do something which will keep them busy and productive, instead of thinking about something. We normally get into thoughts only when our mind is not doing anything, or it is just idle, or you're just sitting in leisure. Instead, try to keep yourself engaged. Do something, do anything for that matter. Do whatever you feel like doing. Even it's going to be as simple or as easy as cleaning your house, or going for a ride, or cooking a meal for yourself, or even dancing, or even singing. All these things are going to just transform your energy that's already being used wrongly in worrying into something that is going to make yourself feel better. It's going to make yourself feel more loved. It's going to help you to get back to yourself. So, if you want to forget about something in your life, do not ask yourself to forget it. Instead, do not think about it. And I've already said how not to think about it. When you follow this on a regular basis, even without your knowledge, in a span of a few months or years, depending on how deep you have been affected, it would be totally erased from your memory, and you can lead that normal beautiful life that you have been expecting and deserve. Feel free free to share your comments and feedbacks in the comment section below. Also, do not forget to subscribe and press the bell icon.